Today's vlog is going to be a different kind of vlog. I've mentioned that I've been enriching myself and enjoying myself by learning to breakdance during this pandemic. I do love to be outside. I generally like to explore and have my adventures, but I've noticed that the energy outside in public has been off and weird, and to a certain extent negative. Up to this point, there never been anything specifically targeting me, but I know that this pandemic and other circumstances, racial issues, have caused a certain amount of stress in people. Today I experienced that firsthand with my first racist encounter in quite a while. To preface this, I'll say I live in Canada, but every country in the world has its share of problems and issues. What should I say about today's experience? Instead of delving into the nitty-gritty details of what happened, I'll say first like this. If I were to be completely objective and fair to the other person, I'll call this incident racist adjacent, okay? More specifically, I call the incident racist as opposed to the person. The distinction is important because incidents are incidents and people are people. Incidents are a moment in time. People are an amalgamation of many moments in time. So if I encounter someone during a moment of their life, I would avoid labeling them as racist based on that one moment, because I think that that label is a negatively charged, pejorative term that has a specific meaning. I should actually look up that meaning in a dictionary and come back to you next week with what my opinion is. But for now, as I've yet to conduct my thorough research, I'll label the incident as racist adjacent. Why this is important to discuss is because racist adjacent is a less discussed topic. We generally divide people into racist or not, incidents as racist or not, but I think racist adjacent probably encompasses more interactions that we have on a daily basis than the other two. Then that's just my general feeling. Obviously, maybe someone's done statistics on those. I can further research the case then. My feeling about racist adjacent is still forming. As I think I've exhibited in the vlog, I'm still thinking, as opposed to being particularly caught in any feeling. Of course, there are some negatives. I'm probably feeling a mixture of anger and disappointment, but I'm wondering if they're directed towards anything in particular. For the last couple of weeks, I've stressed a scientific approach to things, and I really do insist that, at least for me, it's the right way to go. I think that a lot of what we describe as racism has biological precursors or partial explanations, and that's important to understand. If you understand it as such, if you treat humans as animals, as part of the animal kingdom, which we are, then you understand these incidences in a different lens than if you were to react emotionally. Okay? To be clear, this is far from excusing behavior, but it's more trying to understand the behavior, because understanding it, you have a better chance at coming to some sort of resolution, if there is such a thing. I've yet to have any answers for anyone in specific, but I thought I'd share this point of view because it helps to coalesce some of the topics that I had been discussing in previous vlogs. Yeah. I'll still have to think more about what I am truly thinking. What I think will probably evolve with time and research, but I wanted to snapshot my current opinion so that I can help myself review after I've had my requisite research. That's okay to say that I'm still forming my opinion. Jocko Willink, my favorite ex-Navy SEAL, was on Joe Rogan's podcast literally today, speaking about a powerful concept, which is, I don't know. Right now, I don't know. I just know that I don't know, and that I want to research more to know even what to know. So that's my answer for now. Do I have any more to say about this? Today is going to be a practice session where I just run through and practice, and fuck me, I forgot my music. I can practice without music too, or I could quickly run up and access my music. Yeah, I can go without music today. This will be a new thing. Practice without music. But I'll still allow myself a couple minutes to speak more if that's what I so feel. If there's anything else that needs to come out. I'll say this. I'm an assertive person. I'm probably even bordering on aggressive. That's a different type of mentality than maybe some people might be in if they encounter a racist adjacent situation. I've been like this my whole life. I've always been like this even in developing countries, even if sometimes I might risk exposing myself in terms of physical threats or otherwise. I've been trying to quantify the pros and cons of different types of reactions I have, but suffice to say, I think there's a certain amount of offloading that I need to express in order to be able to actually move forward. In every single circumstance, the only thing you have control of is your own reaction. To me, I have a level of reaction where I feel like I have to have said my piece in a certain way. Now, the piece is only something that I can determine internally, and it weighs all of the other factors involved, including what's the environment, what's the other person's response, what's the risk level, if they might potentially escalate to physical. Of course, if I'm sensing that a physical altercation might be possible coming from their end, I react differently. But again, this is part of the I don't know. I really don't know. I'm still trying to decipher, and it's a work in progress. But I would still say the assertive me is someone who only apologizes if I truly feel that I've been wrong in a situation. I will not be bullied into apologizing to make a situation easier for me. And sometimes that's what people are looking for. They want to bully you into some sort of submission on their end. In this race adjacent situation, I believe that might have been what was happening. So in some ways, some people might argue that I'm escalating the situation. But in other ways, I think that I'm expressing myself as fully as I can so that I can answer my own question and responsibility to myself. Have I expressed my point of view to the clearest of my ability in a hopefully objective, logical manner as opposed to an emotional manner? That's something I'm going to have to take some time to assess, and that's something that I've been consistently thinking about today. So I think that's about it. Is it time to dance? Maybe I'll dance and talk again. Maybe I'll dance throughout the entire rest of the time. Again, like everything in my life, this really depends on however things go internally for me. Crackly wrists. Suffice to say that I am just straight dancing. This is my first time being physical today, as in intensively physical. So I'm partially warming up while dancing as well. Okay, hat's in the way for that move. Oh, okay, still got a lot of time. To celebrate my 100th country of Egypt last year, I might choreograph a tutting dance, tutting, botting, popping dance. Tutting actually is Egypt inspired because hieroglyphs showed the right angles in hand motions, and I guess King Tut is the most famous Egyptian of all, or at least he's the Egyptian the tutting dancers had in mind. Right angles with your hands and other parts of your body are actually very difficult to do. They require flexibility, mobility, coordination. And that's something that I've actually already worked on through yoga. So yoga has been an important foundation for dancing, breaking, and everything else I've been doing. Much of what I've done just to keep happy and healthy through yoga has translated into my dancing, making it much easier for me. For example, with regards to the right angles, I consistently stretch and hyperextend because I'm flexible. So I actually extend past 90 regularly, and I've been doing this for many, many years. So when it comes to making my right angles, I have transitioned easier than maybe people with less of that experience. But I also still have to work on it because right angles are easy to make for me when I have a pressure point to push against. For example, like this, hands, or a wall, or another fixed object. But free holding a right angle is much harder. That actually requires a specific kind of sustained training that I've also been incorporating. So, I think this is my idea. This is just a note to self for next week. I've been practicing some tutting, and I'll probably choreograph a tut for next week. that whole Indian crossover step variation pattern is from my choreography last week, which I had very little time to practice. This week, with more time, I've been able to add the flair, being the exaggerated kicks and the flared out transition kick. I think upon reviewing, they'll add a lot of sizzling style, which is what I'm working on now. The reason why breakdancing has been such a fun exercise is because it's continual. There's always something new to learn, and the learning is varied and interesting. So you can learn new steps, or you can learn ways to make existing steps more stylish, and both are fun for me. I also can modify the breakdancing to fit the environment. Some days when it rains, I'm lucky because I have a tinier space here to practice, and that increases my precision. So if I have to limit myself in a specific square that's outside of the rain, my steps have to be more precise, and I use that as an opportunity to drill precision. So breakdancing has mostly been my favorite go-to activity while at home, and I think it might have to be my go-to activity for a little while longer. I'll have to assess the situation. Returning to the racially adjacent circumstance of today, I would say being out in public with all of this general overall negativity circulating is far less worth the benefit of going out. I can obtain the benefits of going out by being here with the fresh air outdoors. If I have to interact with people, I still have people to interact with in a controlled way where I know that we're all just trying to be happy. Outside, in public, I understand that stresses are running high for people. People have lost jobs, people have lost their identities, people have lost many things, whether it's related to the pandemic, the racial divides, whatever we're struggling with in today's world. But the outside struggle, I can leave outside. That can be outside struggle. Inside, as in internally, I really want to be more practical with my time, so breakdancing has allowed me to do that. Again, next week I might have a more well thought out, researched, nuanced view about all of this, but as of right now, this is what I think. Okay, I still have a couple more minutes to go at it. That's been a mixed session. Neutral, maybe. The dancing practice, good. The current state of affairs in the outside world, bad. My own internal world, neutral to good still, despite all that's happened. I'll be back next week with my thought out, researched, nuanced point of view.